Welcome to Tone Talks. Welcome to Tone Talks. Welcome to Tone Talks.
How's everybody doing today? This is Antonio Moore coming to you from Tone Talks. Wanted to shoot a brief video giving my take on Jay-Z talking about gentrifying your hood, and just tell y'all I don't feel that Jay-Z knows what he's talking about. So you had this recent, show that he did, I believe it was at Webster Hall, and he did this weird kind of little jazz rap. But in some ways what I see is that Jay-Z has basically decided that he's going to take black super capitalism that came out of hip-hop and wrap it in ADOS blackness, and none of that makes sense. When I say ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, politics, talking about all of the Black Lives Matter backdrop, the reality of black people pushing forward to talk about like wealth inequality and like. But what you see is that he doesn't have the educational background or the political acumen to understand what's going on. I don't think that somebody who uses the word gentrify in the context that Jay-Z has used it understands that gentrification is the process of pushing black folks out that come from slavery and Jim Crow, replacing them with white folks that are basically cups of capital so that white businesses come in that didn't come in when black people lived there. Come on. I just came from Louisville. Dr. Kevin Cosby, shout out to him, has a mega church and has bought property all around that mega church in Louisville, not too far from the downtown. And literally they don't have a standing restaurant within 2 to 3 miles of that church because it's black folks that are literally making, I think the median income is like $25,000 for a family or something like that, and the median wealth level is near zero. So what he does not understand in Jay-Z is the positionality of black folks in terms of economics. This is not about being negative. This is about being real about how black folks have been cheated. But how do you expect Jay-Z to know better when he did what he did with Brooklyn? We look at the Brooklyn Nets. They came up with a whole new rule, the NBA. We included it in our report, what we get wrong about closing the racial wealth gap. You can find that on the Duke website. Did it with Sandy Darity, one of the leading economists in the area of intergenerational wealth. And what we found is that there's this new rule called the Jay-Z rule where you can't have 100 NBA owners on one team so that Jay-Z or somebody like him owns less than 1% and is used as a face man. But then you look at dig even deeper, and it was a big old ploy and led to gentrification that pushed black folks out of Brooklyn. It was supposed to bring jobs. Those jobs never came, meaning the stadium, the little basketball arena. But then I think for Jay-Z now to be speaking about gentrification incorrectly, it creates misinformation for a generation of black people. It tells them that you are the reason that you're failing, not capital. It doesn't even give context to the fact that black folks own a mere $200 liquid in Los Angeles, a mere $11 liquid in Miami, a mere $8 liquid in Boston. I'm not guessing, I do data. One of the things that we see is that Jay-Z does not understand you are part of capital now. You don't stand with us, you stand against us. When you look at capital, the bottom 90% now has the same amount of wealth as the top 0.1. The top 0.1. Jay-Z is part of that infrastructure to keep you thinking that you're the reason that your neighborhood is failing. You're not the reason your neighborhood is failing. They created your neighborhood in many cases to fail. Outside bar New York and like Los Angeles, you go to Mississippi and Louisiana and Georgia and all kind of cities. What you see is that black folks' neighborhoods are near the worst areas often. And when they're not, somehow white folks find a way to zone it so that you can't make no money. I'm saying to you, this is not a process of black people misusing their money, not buying property, black people not wanting to be American. This is a creation by America. You had a man in Jay-Z who talked about gentrifying your neighborhood before these people do it. Say it straight and say it full-throated with your chest, bro. Say white people. But see, he can't say white people and still sell Beyonce tickets. He can't sell t-shirts or whatever else product he got to sell white people at these concerts. I don't think Jay-Z has been honest. I think one of the things we as black people got to understand is that he doesn't have a high school diploma, and that might play a role. I don't care what business success you believe him to have. We're going to leave out title and the failure in title before you tell me he's a success. We're going to leave out the Brooklyn Nets and the fact that he didn't ever really own much of the team at all. We just going to talk about the reality that's right in front of us, that in many ways Jay-Z's lack of education is showing up. And because in high school you learn about the basic American history and civics, I don't see him understanding that black folks were slaves and that Jim Crow happened. I see him recreating a narrative like we just got here when hip hop started. And we didn't. You can't take white super capital and cloak it in hip hop and make us all feel like we got a chance. I don't believe that we haven't gentrified the hood, and that's why we don't have wealth. The reason we don't have wealth is they designed black folks not to have wealth. Middle black family in this country is worth $1,700 without depreciating assets. Understand that the middle white family is worth $140,000. Literally little to no wealth transfers in a nation built on wealth transfers. They built the estate tax so that it basically keeps up the system that they've had in place since the turn of the 1900s when slavery ended. Fundamentally, Jay-Z needs to take a lesson in economics before he uses all these words and lyrics and language, because he don't understand what the words mean. It was real good back in the day, but you 50-something now. Get your weight up. Put the money to the side. Go back, get your high school diploma, and let's talk about the wealth. Let's talk about the reality that black folks across this country are struggling. Let's not make black folks think that it's because they haven't gentrified a hood that they don't have wealth. I understand it feels like it's empowering, but in reality, just like we're doing with ADOS, we need to push government. We need to push the nation to recognize that they created us in a way where more black men are incarcerated than all women on the planet. I'll say that again. More black men are incarcerated than all women on the planet. What's gentrifying the hood gonna do when you ain't got no black families? No way. There's 4 billion women, almost about 600 to 700,000 are incarcerated on the whole planet. Black men that descend from slavery in America, 20 million of us have produced more prison, or more of us are incarcerated than all the women on the planet, are just about the same. Understand what that means. That means that this is not about just economics. This is about a social plan. So when I say to Jay-Z today, is we got to get honest about the consequences of being black in America and stop looking for quick answers that make it so that all we got to do is gentrify our way out of it. This Tone Talk, please go to tonetalks.org to subscribe or donate. Share this channel. Again, I'm going to be on Dash Radio, Dash Talk X this Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, as I always am. I did an article called The Decadent Veil. I recommend everybody go out, check that article out. Stay tuned and listen in for my video on black wealth in America. It's important for us to get real and get honest about where we at.